I know my hands are dirty. I dyed my mother's hair last night and decided I didn't need gloves. So here I am, looking like a rip-off Michael Jackson. Mind your business. Hi, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you that are new, welcome. This is obviously going to be my April wrap-up. In April, I read 7 books total. I started Throne of Glass in March, and I've read the next 4 books in that series. I'm now reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, doing the tandem read. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Throne of Glass books because I intend to do a video about those specifically, so I can go into like quite detail, because I don't know what I should and shouldn't say. So I'm not going to go into all that much detail for the 4 Throne of Glass books. So what I'm going to do is, I would normally go in order of what I've read them, but I'm not going to do that for these, because for those of you who don't want to in fact watch a video where someone's like going into like massive detail of the book, I'm just gonna do the Throne of Glass books at the end and like just say what I rated them. I'm just gonna go into detail of like how many books I've read and like what the analytics are, for those of you that are wanting to, just in case there's anyone that wants to know. Okay, so this month I read 7 books. 4 of those Four of them were fantasy, and they were all Throne of Glass. 3 of them, because that's how math works, were just straight plain old romance. Now, 1 of them was a dark romance, 1 of them was a YA romance, and then 1 of them was like adultish romance. My average page count was 458 pages. That's the average. And my average rating, funnily enough, was 4.8, which I don't understand how that works, but anyway, was 4.8. Now, since I'm not doing this in any specific order, we'll just go from top to bottom. So the last book I read for the month was the 4th book in the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, which is Twisted, which, for those of you who don't know, the Never After series is actually, it's a contemporary version of fairy tales. So, for example, the first book in the series is Hooked, which is a Peter Pan retelling, and then the second one is Scarred, which is a Lion King retelling. The 3rd book is Wretched, which is a Wizard of Oz retelling, and Twisted is an Aladdin retelling. And then you have Crossed, which is the 5th one, but there is more coming. But Crossed, which is the 5th one, is a Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling. What you need to know about these books is they're all dark romances. They're all villain gets the girl. And if you do not like dark romances, do not read this series. I mean that so genuinely. I mean that so genuinely. Do not read this series if you are not a dark romance person. Or try it. You never know. Maybe don't start with Hooked. So normally like series like this they're normally interconnected standalones. Never After? Yep. Never After series isn't. because they're all in their own world, but the reason why it's a series is because they're all retellings, obviously. So this one is obviously the Aladdin retelling, as I've said, and I rated this one a 4 stars. With how the author does these, she changes the names. So for example, in this one, Aladdin is Adrian or Aiden or whatever the fuck his name was. I can't remember. He wasn't an important character to me. I remember Yasmin, and I remember Julian. Julian, obviously Jafar. Yasmin, obviously Jasmine. Raja isn't a tiger in this book, and her name's Rhea. Julian still has his snake. I'm not even sure if this is a frame. Julian still has his snake. Iago has been turned human. Sultan's is their diamond business, which is legal and illegal. So it's an arranged, getting down to what the book is about, it's an arranged marriage, and it's age gap, which is one of my favorite tropes. It's a favorite. It's age gap, it's a dark romance, and it's technically not, I wouldn't call it an arranged marriage. I'd say it's more fake dating. It's a marriage of convenience, if you will. Because they're both getting something out of it. It's not Sultan, Papa, Yasmin's dad, the CEO of Sultan's, he is ill. He is dying. He's on his deathbed. And Yasmin is sad to see her father go because her mother is in the picture. Because she died of a sickness, just like in Aladdin. But her father has come down with an illness, and he is on his deathbed. He is not looking good. He's gonna go any day now. And his dying wish on his deathbed is for his daughter to be married. So Yasmin is actually in a relationship with Aiden, whatever the fuck his name is, starts with an A. We'll just say A, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep saying names. A, who is one of the housemaid's sons, and Yasmin and him have been best friends since they were young, and Yasmin's father doesn't approve. Doesn't know, but he would not approve. So Yasmin trying to find a way for her to keep this relationship with this boy, but not upset her father on his deathbed, comes to an agreement with Julian that they're going to marry, and he's like, yeah, you can I don't care what you do, you can tap it on the side. I just need your hand in marriage. So they both come to an arrangement where they'll get married, and she can continue to have her relationship with A, and he gets to run Sultan's. I adored this book. I do wish Raja had still been a tiger. I don't know how it would have worked, but I do wish. Where there's a wish, there's a way. I did rate it 4 stars. I did enjoy it. I was non-stop talking to my housemate about this book. I could not shut up. I was listening to it, and I just love Julian. I mean, there's a scene in this book. Oh my god, there's a scene in this book. Let me tell you about this scene in this book. There's a scene where Yasmin doesn't have her driver's license. So Julian is teaching her how to drive in a parking lot of a warehouse that he owns. Now, she's driving around in the parking lot. They stop to switch seats because they're done their driving lesson. Obviously, she doesn't have a learner's permit though. So, they get pulled over by a police officer, funnily enough. They get pulled over and the police is like, I got a complaint. And Julian's like, please, tell me, who complained? He's like, well, that's none of your business. And he's like, well, it is my business. Because this is my private property. So it is my business to know who the hell is, filing a complaint against me driving on my property, because it is my business. Throughout this whole interaction, the police officer is giving Yasmin these like, you know, the fuck me eyes, and he's making her really uncomfortable, and he's touching her inappropriately, and he's just rubbing against her, and she's just not comfortable. So what ends up happening is he gets a call the next day that there are people in this park in this thing again. So he comes back, which is a stupid ass move if you ask me. I mean, for real though, bro, you really couldn't have fucked that up anymore. And so Julian, because he made Yasmin feel uncomfortable, he fucking just takes him, puts him into his basement. I'm blushing, like, I was fangirling at this when it was going down. Puts him in his basement where he has a tarp, like a clear tarp laid out, because he's prepared and he does this all the time. So he tortures him, and he sits there and like tortures him, and then once he's done with him, he feeds it to the snake. Love it. Retwisted. Just do it. You won't regret it, unless you're not into dark romances. Then you will regret it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The next book I read was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I love. Fun fact, I actually bought the Fairy or Owl Crate. Or Illuma, I'm not sure. The special editions of Book Lovers, People We Meet on Vacation, and Beach Read. I actually have those like hardcover special editions in there. So pretty. So I've been wanting to read Book Lovers, but I didn't want to read it. I didn't want to buy it when it was in that massive fucking... Oh no, I've just been postponing reading it. I can't even justify it. I've owned this book in this size for a while, so I can't even justify it. I didn't want to buy it when it was this big, because I didn't buy it when it was that big. I bought it when it was this big, when it first came out. So, Book Lovers. I rated it 5 stars. I love Emily Henry. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. I just looked you right in the eyes and lied. I am a liar. I did not like People Women on Vacation. That book actually put me in a slump. But I loved Beach Read. And I loved Book Lovers. I think I just like the books that are about people that are about... I think I just like books that are based around people in publishing. Like, Beach Read is about 2 authors. Book Lovers is about Nora and Charlie. Nora is Nora is a literary agent, and Charlie is an editor. Nora and Charlie, I can say this because it's actually in the prologue. Like, it's in the first chapter. Yeah, it's in the prologue. Nora's boyfriend actually breaks up with her on the phone when she's on her way to meet Charlie for dinner, for work purposes. She's not cheating. And they don't get along because she rocks up 6 minutes late, and Charlie just wants to get out of there. So they do not meet on good terms. One of Nora's top-selling authors has a book that's set in Sunshine Falls. Nora's sister Libby is obsessed with this book. So they decide to go on holiday for a month to Sunshine Falls because Libby is obsessed with it and she wants to go on holiday. So they go to Sunshine Falls and they're there for a month. Sunshine Falls is actually Charlie's hometown. So he's there working abroad because he's also running his family's bookstore. Their dad is not feeling well. I don't know, I can't remember that detail. But someone is not feeling well, so so instead of his sister coming back, who's in Paris, he's there taking care of the bookstore and editing all his books. So, I'm not sure if I've said what rating I gave it, but I gave it 5 stars. I'm just rambling. I loved this book entirely. I definitely believe with my whole heart and being that Charlie falls first, and I absolutely loved it. I devoured this. I devoured this. I could not put it down. Read it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Listen to me, don't listen to me. That's up to you. And the final book I'm going to ramble on about is Check End of Mate by Ali Hazelwood. There's always like a massive gap between Ali Hazelwood books, and I always forget how much I adore her writing and adore the characters she comes up with. This is a masterpiece, and it's a YA. I can't even believe that it's a YA, but it's a YA. More you know. This book follows Nolan and Mallory. Nolan is a professional heartthrob chess player, and Mallory hasn't played chess for 4 years. She blames herself for her parents' divorce, because her dad was obsessed with chess and the one that pushed her into chess. Mallory is also basically raising her younger siblings. It is close proximity, which I love entirely. Nolan definitely fell for her first. I don't know how I managed to pick up these books accidentally, but I swear to you, Nolan fell for her first. 100%, he was obsessed. Could not get enough of homegirl. I rated this book 5 stars. Please read it. I can't believe it took me this long to pick up this book. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't come for me, but read it. 5 stars. Read it. So good. Remember what I said. Like, if you want like in detail, you can just leave that. I won't blame you. I did ramble. But this will be just basic, maybe like minimum, because I will be making a video in depth about these, because I just can't shut up about them. So I'm going to make myself shut up about them so I can talk non-stop about them. So the first book I read this month, well, the first book I finished this month, because I did finish it April 1st, was Crown of Midnight. I rated it 4 stars. It was not my favorite of the series, and there were some heartbreaking things that happened in this book. I know this is some people's favorite book of the series, but I was really just reading this series for Heir of Fire. I really was just reading this for Rowan, because I've been on TikTok enough to know everyone loves Rowan. I was really just reading it for that. I rated this book 4 stars, which isn't bad. Like, do not get me wrong, it is not bad. I did enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just not my favorite of the series, because every other book in this series has been rated 5 stars. And this is here to 4. It's there. It's a book. It's in the series, so you have to read it. But if I didn't have to read it, I wouldn't have read it. Anyway. The next book I read was Heir of Fire. Which is where Rowan is introduced. Yes. I'm obsessed. I love. I adore. I cannot get enough of it. I could not put this book down. You could not pry this out of my cold dead hands if you tried. I love Rowan. I love Selena. I love all of like the backstory you get in this book. I love their bickering. I love every single little detail about this book. I love the fact that he is teaching her how to how to control her powers. I adore all of their bickering because it gives enemies to lovers without it actually being enemies to lovers, which is, I do like me some enemies to lovers, but there was no need for this to be enemies to lovers. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've just read this for Rowan, and all I can remember from this book is Rowan. Rowan. Is there anything else that happened in this book? We were introduced to Manon Blackbeak. I barely remember Manon, even though she's like non-stop mentioned. I am growing attached, but she's not right there in my mind because her chapters are so few and far between. But this was the book. I read it just for Rowan. I can't remember anything about this book aside from Rowan. I did rate it 5 stars. It was clearly enjoyable. Though to be fair, I would have rated it, you could have just like had Ron Whitethorn written on every single page, and I would have been like, yeah. It's really concerning. Air of Fire, Sarah J. Maas, 5 stars. Rowan. Need I say more? I'm sorry. Next book is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I somehow said I wasn't going to ramble about these, yet here I am. I guarantee this is going to be a lot longer than my first shooting of this was, because I did not go into detail. I'm laughing at myself. This is really horrible. The second last book I'm going to be talking about is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, because obviously I read Throne of Glass series and I'm on to the last 3 books. I adore this book. I adored this book. There was twists. It was a roller coaster. You'd think you knew what was coming, and then it just completely, like, nope. Like, oh my god. The person sending information out did not expect it to be that person. That was a shock. I did not like how Adian was talking about Aelin in Air of Fire, because he was sitting there like, oh nah, if I ever meet my cousin, she's not gonna partake in any wars, and I'm just sitting there like, you don't know this person. Why are you making these assumptions? You're gonna get your ass handed to you. I've grown to like him now, but nah. So I wasn't all that upset to find him thrown in jail. But I do love me a moment where the female main character can come out and just break someone out of like jail. It's always fun. It's always a good time. It's always a good vibe. Gives me Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean vibes is all I'm saying. So I do enjoy them. I do enjoy them. What I did not enjoy was how Chaol was acting through this whole fucking book. Being a little whiny little bitch. I think I need to get that one fucking shirt. Jesus Christ, the amount of times I say little bitch. Concerning. I did not expect Dorian to be trapped. I think I might have my books mixed up. Anyway, 5 stars. Loved it. They've all just blurred together. That's what happens when you read a series. Just blurred together. Now, you may have noticed that I have in fact only just now picked up the Assassin's Blade book, because this was actually the 4th book that I read. I was actually listening to it as I was listening to Empire, doing like my tandem read. But I did finish this before I finished the tandem read, because I'm still going with the tandem read. Because I was waiting, because I didn't want to spend $30 to get the audiobooks for them. I was waiting for my subscription to renew so I could get them. So I now have them and I'm now listening to them. I'm like halfway through. But I did read this one and I'm actually so glad I read this when I did. Because this is just a whole bunch of short stories. Because I'm, as you can probably tell, I'm a smidge bit forgetful on what happens in books. Like my mind just goes, yeah, we don't need that knowledge anymore. Yet here I am trying to make a booktube. So I'm so glad I read this when I did, because I would have been sitting there listening to this now going, who is this person? Is this supposed to be like a memorable, like it sounds familiar. Is this supposed to be like someone I remember? Am I supposed to know this person? Am I getting my books mixed up? Yeah, no, it would have been a whole mess. So the Pirate Lord is Rolf, which was introduced in Empire of Storms. The healer is Irene, who is introduced in Tower of Dawn, because that's the healer they go to see. Like I'm sitting there like I'd read this, I'd listened to it, and Irene pops up and I'm like, wait, isn't that the, yes, Leah, it is. This is the romance of Sam and Selena. Do not get attached to Sam. I personally did get attached to Sam, knowing full well what was coming, and I got attached, and then that was heartbreaking. Even though I knew what was coming, that hit me right in the feels. So these are all the books I read this month, for obvious reasons. I have been in like a massive reading slump. I normally read a lot more, but I'm trying to like not hold myself to the standard of like how I've been the last few years. Like, because last year I did not read a lot of books. The year before I read 80 something books, and then last year I read 70 something books, which is still so good. But my goal was definitely to read 80. So this year I've set it for 70 because it's obviously a reachable goal, but I do want to do more.